In today's video, we will watch The Awakener, a crime-fighting thriller. There will be some spoilers, so relax and have fun. We see the protesters and demonstrators outside of a government building at the beginning of the movie. They had gathered there to demonstrate against their corrupt and robbery-prone governor, Sandro Correa. The governor hides under the table, where a masked man finds him, as the people throw objects and stones at the building. In the following scene, some DAE men are seen getting ready and armed. Later that day, they reach a building where a man was having a cup of coffee. Sandro, the governor, was that man. He was taken into their headquarters interrogation room after being arrested. Edu and Miguel received cheers from their fellow officers for their successful capture of the corrupt governor. They informed him in the interrogation room that they have evidence of his dishonesty and embezzlement of public funds. They are warned by the governor that he will continue to kill anyone who tries to expose his crimes or corruption. To get out of the charges, he even tries to bribe the officer. His attorney showed up at the governor's lavish lunch after some time. He discussed his connections within the prosecutor's office. He assured him that he would soon be released from custody. He informed him that during the investigation, he might be placed under house arrest. In the meantime, their commander holds a brief meeting at the DAE headquarters to inform them that the evidence regarding Governor Correa's embezzlement of the health budget is insufficient. As a result, he made the decision to grant him house arrest and allow him to return home. Miguel and his friend leave the office after that. Miguel visits his daughter, who was waiting for her father alongside her mother on the road. To take their daughter to the football game, they were waiting there. Miguel presents his daughter with a t-shirt when he arrives there. She becomes ecstatic. While her mother takes pictures, he assists her in putting on her shirt. Miguel then transports her in a taxi. They exit the vehicle and observe the traffic jam. His daughter was blindly shot while they were walking along the road to the stadium. She began to bleed. Miguel rushed his daughter to the emergency room of the hospital for prompt treatment. When they got to the hospital, the doctors took Miguel's daughter Alice straight to the emergency room and told him to wait outside. Miguel enters after impatiently waiting there. He happens to be in the hospital corridor and sees a lot of seriously ill patients lying open and untended. He was shocked to see these patients and how bad the hospitals were. His daughter Alice was lying motionless in front of the operating room at that exact moment. He asks the doctor why they haven't taken her to the operating room, and the doctor tells him that many patients had to wait for their turn because the hospital didn't have many operating rooms. Alice's pulse stopped slowly, and she died after a prolonged period of bleeding and treatment delay. When Miguel's ex-wife and Alice's mother finally made it to the hospital, they were shocked to learn that Alice had passed away. The governor was granted bail and released from custody in the following scene because there was insufficient evidence. In the following scene, he announces that he will run for president and goes to the microphone. He says that public hospitals and the health sector will get more money. He says he will make the people's lives better. Miguel, on the other hand, is jogging through the streets and recalls his daughter. He believes that inadequate hospital facilities were the cause of his daughter's death. Miguel believes that if the healthcare industry had more appropriate hospital facilities and equipment, his daughter might have been saved. He believes that patients shouldn't be ignored or neglected. He was jogging when he stopped at a shop on the street and saw that Governor Correa had been released from prison without being found guilty of any corruption or embezzlement of health funds. Miguel became increasingly irate and dissatisfied with the system. He then went through the crowd of protesters outside that government building and, out of rage, attacked the police. He is wearing a mask as the police shoot him with tear gas. He defeated numerous police officers who were guarding the building, as we know he was a trained special forces man. He enters after scaling the structure. He enters the room where the governor was hiding after killing one of his bodyguards. He repeatedly punches him, resulting in his death. Miguel goes back to work the following day, and the head of the headquarters asks him and other DAE members to look into protesters who got into trouble during the demonstration. He informs them that the investigation team was successful in apprehending a number of suspects who were believed to have orchestrated the protest. Miguel met this woman at the protest where he was beating the police, so it appears that he knew one of the suspects' women. Miguel questions the woman present. She introduces herself as Nina and reveals that she is a programmer. In addition, Nina informs him that she is aware that Miguel was the one who attacked the police and that she has a cell phone recording of Miguel's actions. He checks her phone in the evidence room. He was right about her. Miguel is ultimately freed because she makes him unable to choose. Miguel goes to Nina's apartment at night after analyzing the video and what happened in his apartment. On the road, he discovered her walking. Nina gives him Governor Correa's laptop and offers to help Miguel look into a case of medical funds and hospital equipment being stolen. Miguel believes that Correa will not be able to accomplish this on his own at this point. Miguel discovered important information about the embezzlement case after Nina broke into Correa's personal laptop. She demonstrates to him the profiles of politicians who participated in this corrupt activity. After that, Miguel got ready and went after the politicians and corrupt officials who were also to blame for the health department's embezzlement and corruption one by one. Miguel kills them all while concealing himself behind a mask. The subsequent assassinations of politicians were widely reported. After that, Miguel went to Nina's place of employment and asked her to locate the sponsors who had been supporting these corrupt officials' campaigns. Miguel makes an offer to reduce Nina's mother's prison sentence, which Nina declines. After a period of time, Nina pays her mother a visit and inquires about the significance of the truth. Her mother responds that the truth is nothing more than an illusion because the truth for one person is not the same for another. Nina discovers the profiles of Gomez's sponsors, those dishonest politicians, in the following scene. Nina takes control of a building's surveillance camera system so that Gomez can meet Minister Regina there. On the day that the governor passed away, Edu was going through the suspect's files in the head office. He finds the profile of Nina. He was able to identify Minister Marta Regina as the next target of the masked man known as the Awakener. Edu tried to call Miguel to let him know about this, but he couldn't get through. After that, he walks away on his own and toward the minister's building. That man in the mask is there for him. Miguel is shot as Edu pursues him. Nina treats Miguel's wound right away when he comes to her. Miguel and Edu presented their reports the following day, claiming that Minister Regina had worked with Antero Gomez. These dishonest officials' campaign had been supported by Gomez. Miguel and Edu made the decision to conduct an investigation into Minister Regina, but their chief rejected all of the findings. Additionally, the man suggested that the Minister Regina investigation be halted. Miguel decides to execute Gomez himself out of frustration with this choice. When he finally got to Gomez's house, he was seen having dinner with a few other officials. Also present was Gomez's son, who was meeting his mother and complaining that he wasn't ready to become president. Gomez showed up and offered his son his support. On the other hand, Miguel intends to kill Gomez's son to force the man to learn and admit his guilt. But Gomez used his son's death as an opportunity to win over the public's sympathy and declare his candidacy for president. In the meantime, an enigmatic man in a car turns out to be a private spy for Antero Gomez, who was looking into the deaths of his co-workers. Sequeira was his name. He has been personally hired by Gomez to look into the murders. He learned that the murderer had a companion. Additionally, his calculations indicate that the Awakener's partner is Nina's boss. He ended up killing that man. When Nina arrives at work, she discovers that her boss has passed away. She ran for Miguel's place as she dashed out of the room. Sequeira and his men, who were following Nina, arrive there when she does. The hideout of Miguel is attacked immediately. While covering Nina during the firing, Miguel commands her to flee the scene. In the following scene, Miguel dons a mask and begins to kill the followers. Nina was taken hostage by Sequeira after he engaged in combat with one of his men. In order to save Nina's life, he offered Miguel a deal. Miguel was given the order by Sequeira to kill Julia Machado, another presidential candidate. Miguel concurs. The police arrived at Miguel's home after some time had passed. Edu and his team discover that the Awakener was hiding there. When Edu learned that the Awakener was Miguel, his best friend and co-worker, he was even more surprised. Edu and his team rushed to the location of the presidential candidate debate after learning that they had researched the area and discovered that the Awakener is targeting Gomez. Miguel also sets out there to kill Julia. Miguel was getting ready to kill Julia when he got to the location of the debate. He was immediately stopped when Edu appeared. They get into a fierce fight, and Edu tells Miguel to stop doing everything, but he ignores him and goes on. He had no interest in his discussions. Nina, on the other hand, fought back until she was able to seriously injure Sequeira, who was holding her captive. Miguel is later taken into custody on suspicion of murdering corrupt officials. After that, in the hope that she could persuade Miguel, Edu brought his ex-wife. According to his ex-wife, Miguel's daughter would not be proud of her father and would be extremely embarrassed to learn of his current vigilantism. Miguel discovers in his cell that Antero Gomez won the elections. One of Miguel's superiors, Deputy Diaz, who tries to kill Miguel, arrives here to investigate. However, Miguel was able to get away and kill that man. After making preparations for his escape from prison, Miguel rushes to the Parliament building, where Gomez and his fellow politicians were celebrating Gomez's victory over Julia in the results. Miguel attacked the Parliament building immediately, killing all of Gomez's men and co-workers. Miguel is told by him when he finally confronts Gomez in his office that corruption will not go away because greed is a fundamental human trait. Gomez was shot and killed by Miguel. Miguel was held at gunpoint by Gomez's men after he killed him. However, Miguel has a different strategy. He had already made a bomb that he fixed in his car. Miguel pressed the bomb detonator, and the building exploded right away, raising Miguel inside to the ground. When the rescuers, police, and forensics team arrived at the crime scene the following day, they only discovered the Awakener's mask and did not discover Miguel's body. The figure of the Awakener, who is aiming to shoot something or someone from the top of the building at the end, is shown. Please subscribe for more videos like this and to support the channel's expansion.